guys still having conversations?
We're still having conversations with those two that you mentioned and others as well. Football scheduling is like a cake that never bakes. It just kind of goes on, and we're trying to get our schedule taken care of through the decade of the 20s. We're close, but we'll look forward to we'll get that news out as soon as it's done. And I think, believe me, there's nothing more that I would like to, and Kyle Young, who works in our office on football scheduling, than to get that out, because football scheduling takes a lot of different twists and turns.
How exciting will it be if that does end up being finalized to get to play some of those SEC schools?
Well, I think it'd be great. I mean, you could look at our past history. I mean, that's kind of what we do. Right? We have our rival game with the University of South Carolina, but we also have looked to try to play another Southeastern Conference opponent each and every year. Auburn for 3 years, Georgia, Texas A&M obviously the next 2 years. ACC is a little different because we're sprinkling in Notre Dame as an opponent as well, so we have to be mindful of that.
With LSU in particular, can you kind of share how that conversation got started?
Well, you do know, Matt, that I used to work there. So I know a lot of folks there.
Right.
And it's just keeping in contact with people, trying to see if dates work. I mean, see people at conferences or whatever. And, I don't know of many athletic directors that, when they see one another, if there's an interest in playing, they would say, hey, Matt, you got anything open? Because you just always have to have that conversation, not knowing if something had just happened on their campus that maybe changed something in their schedule. So it's almost part of the standard greeting.
Could you ever envision like a centralized governing body that takes control of scheduling, kind of takes it out of your hand?
I would hope not, because I think that's one of the things, our ability through relationships to create really good games, and games that make sense for us. I mean, playing teams like Auburn, playing teams like Georgia, and other Southeastern Conference schools are geographically positive for us, and we want to be able to do that. I wouldn't want a computer to say, well, they finished 4th in the country, they finished 12th, so the 4 and 12 team are going to play, and they have no they don't have any type of background or any type of relationship between the fan bases or the teams. I think that would be, just too antiseptic.
I know you've always been an advocate of an 8-game conference schedule, but is that something that you could see coming under more scrutiny in coming years?
I talked about it before. 8-game conference schedule works because we have Notre Dame in the mix. And if you go to more conference games with Notre Dame, there could and a school like Clemson that has a built-in SEC or a built-in rival, SEC or not, but a built-in rival, therein lies what could be an 11-game Power 5 schedule, which could be problematic. And then certainly we want to make sure one of our primary focuses is to keep 7 home games each and every year here in the Valley.
With that being such a focus, could you guys play a neutral site, one of those kind of big start the season games, or would it need to be home and home?
No, Clemson has played neutral site games in the past. It just has to, there's a few dominoes that have to line up for that to happen.
Dan, I remember back in June when you talked with us, you said that part of Derby had been turned into studios for the ACC network, and that you guys could produce an event if you had to. This coming year, I know the network doesn't go online until next year. This coming year, will there be tests of it in the sense that you will test how you can produce events?
Testing of events, I'm sure, will occur.
Yeah.
I think that any good operation, especially one that ESPN has its letters with, is going to have a number of tests before the actual launch. Yes, we'll have those. I don't know when and where those games might be and how elaborate the tests will be, but I'm sure there will be some that go on.
Anybody else?
Yeah, back to the apparel deal, the 10-year deal with Nike. I guess, what does a 10-year deal actually look like? Is it going to be like over the course of the next couple of years, like new jerseys coming out? Like, I guess, in terms of merchandise and things like that, what does a 10-year deal look like?
Well, I think we always have the ability to talk with, and Nike comes back to us with ideas. They've been doing that for a number of years, and our uniforms have basically stayed as they have been in a number of our sports. Some of our sports have tried some new and different things. So I think that's part of the partnership. But you know, the 10-year deal really just solidifies the relationship as it goes with our coaches and our teams, but also a lot of our departments as well, and specifically our communications department, so that we can, you know, send the right messages, and from a licensing perspective, look at what kind of gear is selling in the public, so that we could make sure that we do more of that as time goes on. All right. Thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody.